Hello Internet, today I wanted to show you all how to make one of my favorite redstone builds in Minecraft. A farm that can automatically harvest itself, collect all the crops that are dropped and put them in one space for you, so that the only real step you have to do is replanting the crops, and that can't really be avoided efficiently. So the first thing you want to do to make this farm setup is make an 8 by 8 square of dirt that's going to be farmed here, and you can do this on as many rows down as you want. You can make it arbitrarily big to get an arbitrary number of crops, that's up to you. And you can also make tiers going upwards like this. I chose to only make 2 tiers just for simplicity's sake, but hypothetically you could make any number of tiers going upwards until you hit the sky limit if you really want that many crops. I don't. But the important thing to remember is that every tier, except for this first tier, needs to be 7 blocks long instead of 8, so that when this water is released, and I'll get to that in a minute, it can flow down, drop to the next level, and keep going, because the water is what harvests and pushes the crops down. So 8 blocks long here, 7 blocks here, and on the last tier, which is this one in this case, you're going to need 6 blocks of dirt, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I misspoke. You need 5 blocks of dirt here because you will end up having a line of pistons and water blocks here. And of course, water only flows 8 blocks, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it will drop to the next tier. So remember, 8 blocks, 7 blocks, and on your last tier you want 6 blocks long, and it should always be 8 blocks wide here. And that is because, as you can see here, I've put water blocks here so that all of this soil stays fertilized and hydrated. So as you can see, in between my 8 by 8 blocks, you need to have a 1 block gap running the entire length so that you can place in water blocks and hydrate the soil. Now this of course is kind of an ugly design that I have going here, but this is just for example's sake, so you can really make it look however you want. I've seen some very nice builds. I have a few of my own in my worlds, but of course this is just an example. The next thing you want to do, put a line of pistons going down the entire length of your farm. The pistons should be, when unextended, level with the dirt, and they will all be naturally extended in the state you want them, and I'll show you how to do that, so that this line of water, which you will also add, does not flow over the crops, because then you couldn't plant anything. So let's look at the redstone wiring for these pistons. What we want to do is take a line, oh, well there goes our water. What I was going to show you is you need a line of redstone repeaters, 1 block down and 1 block over from your pistons. And I can replace some of these just to show you how it looks. Just like that. So you should have 8 and then a gap here. 8 more going on for however many rows you decide to make. And here of course you want a repeater so that our signal doesn't fizzle out, because it only extends 15 blocks, so you can use as many of those as you need. And there will be a slight delay because of the repeaters delaying everything a tick, but that shouldn't be a big problem in the long run. Then you want to put a line of redstone connecting all of the repeaters here, and that is ultimately going to connect to a redstone torch here, which will invert the signal and let you have your pistons up naturally instead of down, like I mentioned earlier. Then this line of redstone can go to whatever source you really want it to, it doesn't matter. I'll just put a button here, but you can make a lever, a pressure plate, a button on the wall, anything you want to make. So let's test it. Press this, and as you can see the pistons come down and water flows out. But as you may see, when you test this design, the water does not flow for long enough to push all of your crops down here, which is where we ultimately want them. So we want to extend the signal here, and we're going to do that using repeaters. So we want to put a redstone repeater, well, let's put it here. And sorry for the rain, let me fix that real quick. Alright, there we go. I have to get around to turning that off at some point. But we want a repeater here to keep the flow of redstone electricity from coming back and creating a loop, because we are going to be putting 3 repeaters just like that, all fully charged time-wise here. And we're going to have these also let's get them going just like that so that it's also flowing into the torch. And this should create an appropriate delay to keep the pistons down for longer, as you can see. And that's good, but for good measure, let's go ahead and throw one more line of repeaters in here, just to make that delay a little longer, to make sure that all of the crops get pushed down to where they should be. And I should be able to link that up here, and I don't think that will cause any problems. Let's try it out. Alright, so as you can see, I've forgotten one thing here. We need to actually double the length of this line of repeaters so that it doesn't just come in at the same time as these here. Now testing it, we should get a pretty long signal here. As you can see, this looks like plenty of time to get our crops flowing to the bottom. So that's all the redstone. You can hide that and make that pretty however you'd like, but again, this is just an example, so it's all out in the open for you to see. Now, as an example, let's go ahead and just find some crops to plant. Alright, so I paused for a second to get what I needed set up, and here you can see I've put some wheat at each tier of our farm so that we can test it out and see what happens when we press our button. So the water flows down, collecting all the crops and moving them quite quickly. And as you can see, they all come out in this area. And of course it's raining again, as it constantly is in this world, so please forgive that interruption. There we go. And as you notice, the crops kind of got flung out kind of far here, and that could make things difficult for collection. So let's get some kind of material here. I'll just use glass so that we can see what's going on. And I actually want to put up a 2-block high barrier here, which should keep all of our materials in that only available row so that they can be easily collected. And what we're going to use is a hopper minecart, which in my experience is the best thing to use for crop collection. So I will quickly set up some minecart rails here. As you can see, I'm just using a bunch of powered rails because it really doesn't matter what we use. You may want to be a bit more responsible with how many power rails you use in your world, but this should work for the sake of an example. So I'm going to put in a few more crops here, just so that I can show you exactly how this is going to work. And I will grab some bone meal here, grow the crops. I'll put a few on this side too, why not, right? Okay. And I will press our button once more. As you can see, the crops are harvested just like last time, but now they're all kept on this row here. Here is where the hopper minecart is going to come in. Because as we all know, hopper minecarts have the ability to pick up anything that they run over. So, we're going to grab that. Let's get a redstone torch to light up these powered rails. And the redstone torch should also work to send our cart on its way here. So, for the purposes of example, let me break some glass here and drop in some torches, and I will also put a torch here, sending the minecart to pick everything up. And if we look in here, it has picked up all of the crops. This can easily be hooked up to a hopper and a chest, or any setup that you want to unload these things from a hopper, or you could even do it manually if you want, just taking it out and putting it in a chest or wherever you'd like. But this is the gist of our automatic farm and automatic collection system. Of course, this setup can be optimized so that you can send out the hopper minecart whenever you want and have it returned to you, like so. And you can make that as pretty and intricate as you'd like. Now there is one other option which I failed to mention for the water up here, which is actually using dispensers with water buckets in them, which can be a bit more compact and easy to use. The only problem is you'd have to set up a second pulse to go through so that the dispensers can reclaim their water. But I use pistons here because it would be very easy to make a more discreet water system by putting sticky pistons one block lower, putting some kind of decorative block on top to hide the water, and just essentially setting things up the same as they are here. So that is the setup of the farm. You can feel free to build one of these on your own, no matter how big you want. I know that there are endless farm designs out on the internet for Minecraft. This is the one that I use in all my worlds, and in my opinion, it's just about the best one out there. So thank you for watching, and good luck with your farm. If you have any requests for redstone tutorials, please let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to get to those as soon as possible. Thank you.